Well, Nicky, great to be back at Seven Barrows, building up towards another Cheltenham Festival. How are the excitement levels? Does this meeting still give you the same buzz?
Oh, definitely. I think well, if it didn't, then... I mean, we like having you guys here because if you didn't turn up, it means I'd have nothing to talk about, which means we'd have no good horses, in which case, what's the point of even going there? No, it's tremendous. It is. Everybody knows it's the end of a year's work, really, for the... You know, if you're lucky enough to have those good horses, and I think we are. Let's
talk good horses. Cheltenham Gold Cup, you've won it twice before. Nico de Boinville's won it before, of course, with Coney. How special would it be to win it together with Nico, who's a real right-hand man here, isn't he, for you?
Well, he is, and he has been for a very long time. Even when he first came here, he was always riding Sprinter Sacra, only for B. Geraghty to get on it. And luckily, when it came round to second, when Sprinter was coming back, he rode him, which was tremendous. But he's virtually born and bred at Seven Barrows. He's on our own production line, which is lovely. But I've been very lucky with those jockeys. If you think, really, we've only had a handful through the whole... since it all started, really, but the last few ones with Barry and Mick Fitz and Nico, you know, they've covered a long time between them.
And Shishkin, not all plain sailing with him this season, but how important was it to get the win on the board at Newbury?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think he was a bit maligned, really. I mean, yeah, one day was his fault at Ascot. That was Shishkin being a silly boy. The King George, you've got to give him an awful lot of credit for that. Whether he'd have won or not, I think he would have done. But he'd put up some performance to doing what he was doing for his first run of the year. So, you know, he not only justified that at Newbury, he definitely deserved it. And it's put him up the front end anyway.
Another couple of furlongs, will he stay?
Yes. I mean, again, at Newbury, Kempton, Aintree, his three previous runs over 3 miles, he was finishing them very strongly, all 3 times. I mean, that's why I think he'd have come home at Kempton. He was strong.
Nicky, Constitution Hill, you've had horses with Michael Buckley for the thick end of 40 years. Never anything quite this special.
Yeah, I mean, he's a difficult horse to sum up in that he's only had 2 seasons. Something like Sprinter Sacra took him more than 2 seasons to become the sort of national favourite. Whereas this fella's just jumped himself into the headlights and, you know, he's got so many wow factors about him when he is racing that people have latched onto him, which is great, but it's still relatively early days. He's got to go and do it again. And that's where the pressure comes in. Nothing but brilliance will probably satisfy the critics.
And you can understand why, obviously, 1 run before March, you can understand why people are left wanting more, can't you?
Well, they might want more, but they can't have it, because if the horse isn't right, you can't run it. I mean, that's how to just get it beaten. I don't want to get him beaten. I'm not frightened of being beaten, but if you run him when he's wrong, then that's how to finish a horse, not grow it.
But all being well, could see him Aintree, maybe even that famous away day at Punchestown.
Well, yeah, I'd love to go to Ireland, but one has to be careful. That's quite late in the year. You know, I'm not saying they will, but when it's as wet as this, you sort of can't exactly envisage watering coming into the system. I'll have a pound with you there watering Punchestown long before it happens.
Jonbon looked to have a tough enough race in his prep run, the rearranged Clarence House. He looks fresh and well this morning. How's he been?
Yeah, great. Yeah, he's in form. He schooled this morning, actually. No, he's on schedule. He doesn't need to do a lot more work. He's ready. You could easily overdo it with him.
I think someone like Ruby Walsh recently described him as maybe looking an out-and-out stayer at 2 miles. Is he quick enough for a champion chase?
Well, that's where he's going, so he'd better be. He is. He won the Schlur earlier on this year and ran there, and he's in good form. The Tingle Creek was very good. You know, he's right on schedule. It's a very good champion chase.
And the future looks so bright, obviously, with horses coming through. The novice division looks really strong, but juvenile, Sir Gino looks a potential superstar. He's another short one for the Henderson yard. Expectations must be high.
Yeah, you'd have to say they probably are high, and I suppose, again, anything rather than, well, there's only one place everybody thinks he'll finish. I just hope they're all right. Yeah, he's visually was very impressive at Cheltenham, and you know, if he does that again, he must have a great chance.
And let's sign off with a handicapper to follow for the Henderson Yard. You'll be well represented across the festival in the handicaps. Is there one name that really stands out this year that you're looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, I think the novices are quite good, or the handicaps. It's difficult. I mean, First Street, I'm looking forward to going up to 2.5 with him, almost certain in the Coral. But there's several for that. I think Lucia probably will run in the champion hurdle. Iberico Lords had a fantastic year. And Under Control, I look forward to her. She's nearly coming back to herself, I'm sure.
Thanks, Nicky. Best of luck.
Pleasure, thank you.